Okay, so you know how you just started thinking in this bitch, right? It was just like, okay, boom. This person I like, that I don't like. Where does all that shit come from? Where the fuck does that shit come from? So look, originally all that should come from the source, but it gets filtered through all these different shits. That being genetic influence, past life influence, sensory input, meaning the shit that you get from the outside world, shit that you can't articulate, meaning that it's shit that you just don't know where it came from, that could have actually been a product of the other three, the genetic, past life, or the sensory input. And you have the shit that you can articulate. You know exactly where the fuck this shit came from, and it just makes sense that you have this memory and stuff like that, and that you had this thought stream and everything like that. Now, with that being said, right, that is what affects your thinking. So past life shit, right? What is that really? You are a focal point of awareness. You are literally just an observer. That's what you are. You're literally just a witness. And that whole thinking process, when you start interpreting shit, that's your intellect. You feel me? Now you start thinking shit. You feel me? And I'm gonna make a separate video about that due to the fact that I didn't properly explain it in this whole little series. I kind of messed up my explanation, but I made up for it in the video. It's just that I took a long time to just and okay. Anyway, with that being said, when you start interpreting shit, right? That comes from your intellect and stuff like that. You feel me? But your main thing, like what you are, is just the awareness. You feel me? However, it's because you are awareness, which gives you the ability to perceive shit, that you eventually develop the ability to interpret and think shit. Now, with that being said, right, that focal point of awareness can be inside of many different life forms. That being a motherfucking animal, human being, fucking plant, alien, whatever the fuck. You feel me? And if you gain a high level of awareness inside those lifetimes, right, then you are likely to reincarnate. Well, if you do reincarnate, because you may not reincarnate inside of the human body, you may reincarnate as some other shit. Who knows? But if you reincarnate as a human, right, then whatever lifetime or lifetimes that you had a high level of awareness, those will influence those will influence this lifetime via your thoughts and emotions, because emotions, right, always have a they always have like a little thought that underlies them. You feel me? Like, for example, if you think that something is bad, you're gonna feel negative about it. If you start thinking that it's positive, though, you're gonna feel good about it. You know, so it's like they always have some belief slash impression under that. You feel me? They always have some idea behind them or something, or some concept behind them. Now, with that being said, all that comes from your past life shit and your genetic shit, the shit that goes on inside your ancestral bloodline and stuff like that. Now, with that being said, your past life shit, right, which is stored inside your unconscious level of awareness, which is pretty much like, that's like soul level type of stuff, which is your soul is that focal point of awareness, and then it kind of has this memory with it, this baggage that lays in your unconscious level of awareness, and that is actually oftentimes a match to your genetic personality, meaning that it makes sense that you would actually be this person that you would have, and that you would have those parents. It makes sense because usually it's just some type of match. You may have actually been a person in your ancestral bloodline. You may not have been. You could have been a whole new motherfucker. But a lot of times, you probably somebody in your you probably one of your ancestors reincarnated, and you don't even know it. Sometimes, you feel me? That's some real stuff. That's some real talk. But it also may not be that. So don't take that full force. You feel me? You could have came from your cousin blood, like, you feel me, or you could have just not came from the bloodline at all. However, this is a big one too, 'cause this happens. You could have not came from the bloodline at all, but the lives that you experience kind of match the life of the people inside your bloodline. Therefore, you're compatible with them because your thoughts and emotions are kind of compatible with theirs. However, they do have some off the wall shits that have nothing to do with you sometimes. Also, you feel me? So that's why I put that as a separate influence, and that's, well, not even me, because I'm not the one who even deciphered that. Like, I always knew that shit, but what actually made me like decipher all that shit was a book about karma, which was by Sadhguru. You feel me? He talked about the different levels of memory and stuff like that. Also, the Egyptians talked about that too, which also helped me think about that. but he specified that inarticulate, articulate shit, that sensory input shit, which obviously y'all all know. But the fact that we just called that bitch sensory input, inarticulate memory, genetic memory, past life memory, you feel me? Then you have elemental, atomic memory. You have a lot of fucking memory. You feel me? Like there's a lot of that shit. You know, but I just already said the main ones that influence you. Now, with that being said, which that was being genetic, past life, sensory input, and things that you can actually think about where they came from, articulate, and things that you can't think about where the fuck they came from, inarticulate. Now, that's where your meaning of life comes from. It comes from all that shit. So the best way to think about where the fuck your meaning is coming from, just look at your parents at first. You feel me? How the fuck do they think about life? And then think about what the fuck came from the outside world. Most people are not going to be able to get in tune with their past life shit, nor do they really have to. There's a reason why it gets veiled off from you. There's a reason why you don't remember your past lives. You reincarnate. It's not really always a bad thing. You would remember your past life if it would have been beneficial to you. But most people, if they remember their past life, they're not going to live out their life properly. And by properly, I just mean in a way that's best for them, you know? It could actually harm them. Now, what else do I got to say on this subject? So, yeah. Now, the flow should really come from the source, you feel me? So, that's the reason why your past life shit kind of gets veiled off, because if you were to think exactly how you did in your past life, right, you may not ever get in tune with the source, because you may think that the past life shit was the full correct shit. However, there's a reason why you're reincarnated also, you feel me, which could have been a fully conscious choice. And if it was fully conscious, then sometimes you will remember your past lives. You may not remember it when you're first born. You may remember that shit. You may remember it later on in life. Some babies remember that shit exactly when they're born, though. No cap. There's some crazy ass babies out there. And yeah, that's where your meaning of life pretty much comes from, all that shit. And yeah, I'm gonna end the series in my last video about life is meaningless. I think I said everything. All right, peace.